Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Thursday, November 30th, 2023. This is my pre-market report. Before we even get started, because lots of lovely things are going on here, I want to ask you a question. Do you find it revolting, sickening, or whatever other word you want to come up with, understanding that we have to live in a situation where our lives are dictated not only by central banks and their monetary policy issues, but also by foreign nations. For example, Saudi Arabia and OPEC, which is now saying they're going to be cutting oil production, which is, of course, going to be driving the cost of crude oil higher. It's astonishing to me. And then people claim that we're free. What are we free to do? We're free to serve those masters? Yeah? Is that what we're free to do? Doesn't sound too good to me. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. And in this kind of an environment where people today, there's something seriously wrong with them. They want to be taken care of by the government from cradle to grave. They've gone through some kind of an indoctrination process where they are willing slaves to the system just so they can be taken care of. You got to be kidding me. They've stripped out any kind of, I don't even know what you want to call it, a survival instinct, a competitive edge, whatever it might be. That's why people like you and me are always going to be able to take advantage of these subhuman things that have been created. And, honestly, look, there are some people that get it, and some people that just don't get it. And people, how can you compare someone like yourself or me to someone else who is willing to surrender their freedoms and their liberties to be taken care of by the government, which of course is central banks. And they of course collude with OPEC nations, Saudi Arabia, everything else. Come on. It's pretty obvious. Anyway, so that's part of the news that we got this morning is production cuts by OPEC nations, of course, who are dictating what we are going to be paying for energy prices. And then you got this issue with the Federal Reserve. Do you realize what they're doing? Have you been paying any attention? You and I called this before anybody else, and it seems to be playing out exactly as we said. The Fed is pumping this market. This is an incredible thing. It's astonishing. Just follow with me for a moment. We were in the biggest bear market in bonds that we've been in. Well, we had a 3-year sell-off, 3 years in the debt market. This was getting grossly out of control with the 10-year yield over 5%, the market rattling under that kind of pressure. And then all of a sudden, it just goes away by some miracle. Okay, now we have a raging bull market in bonds. Yields are dropping, which is, of course, forcing cash into the stock market as it's meant to do. And on the back of that, we've watched the dollar take quite a wallop, although the Dixie right now is back over 103. But it's an incredible phenomenon to see the game. It is so rigged. It is so fake. There's no resemblance whatsoever of a price discovery mechanism behind a single asset. Everything is managed right now, and we're living in some type of illusion, okay, like the menagerie from Star Trek. You ever see that? Yeah, it's all an illusion. It's not real, and it's going to get real. It's just a matter of when, but for now, it certainly appears to this guy, and we've been saying this for a while now, the Fed's not done. They're going to pump this market as high as they can get it. A lot of this is the year-end bonuses, people. Trust me on what I'm saying here, in case you've never heard this before. The CEOs of these big corporations here, their year-end bonus is dependent on stock share price, year-end stock share price. The Fed gets in here virtually every year, pumps up the market so they can get their multi-million-dollar bonuses here. You think you matter? You think you're free? What are you free to do? You're free to serve those masters as well. Don't you see what's going on here? You can't make this stuff up if you try to. It's an impossibility, but that's the truth here. So on the, I'm not even talking about the markets. I already covered OPEC here, whatever. We have to, bow down to them over there as well. And I want to hear from my Eurozone friends, okay, because I've been hearing a lot from my Eurozone friends with regard to inflation, regarding inflation here. But it's being reported now that Eurozone inflation is dropping significantly. Oh, yeah. I'd be willing to bet that pretty much my Eurozone friends who follow this blog are going to say, no, it's not true. Again, it's all the mind screw. They are going to dictate things to you that are completely false. But then they're going to try to convince you that they are real. It's the same scenario that you and I have talked about for 10 freaking years. You think it's going to stop now? No, they're going to float out fake data like yesterday. Let's talk about that real quick, all right? Because this is mind-blowing to me. And I want to hear from you. So we got this fantastic GDP number, came in way better than expected, revised higher as a matter of fact. So let's see. According to the propaganda ministry, that's a sure sign that our economy, there's going to be a soft landing, our economy is strong, it's booming, but then right out of the Federal Reserve's mouth, the same day, the beige book says, no, the economy is slowing down. So how do they justify that? I mean, booming, not so much, but again, this is what they fist feed us elbow deep, rectally, all right, and try to tell us that this is beautiful and everything is completely fine. Meanwhile, we got some other great news today. How about this one? More people today, and we've been seeing this phenomenon for quite a while. We've covered it right here. More people than ever are drawing down their savings accounts just to make ends meet. And today, just in case you were wondering on top of that, the savings rate is near historic lows. People cannot put anything away. But our economy is so strong. People are draining their savings accounts, and this is probably a big part of why we're seeing all these withdrawals. Again, you're not allowed to know what's going on. People are pulling cash out of these institutions, out of the banks, faster than ever. This is historic. But you don't hear that too much from the mainstream media because, you see, you can't know that because then they would believe that more people would go to these institutions and pull their cash out. Why do you think that banks are closing, branches are closing? And, of course, obviously, this is a consolidation of the system, which you and I have discussed as well, and we haven't seen anything yet with regard to the consolidation of the system. But yeah, so that's part of the economic news. But our economy is so strong based on GDP numbers, which is, obviously because we're funding this war and that war and everything else they want to throw cash at because government spending is calculated as a part of GDP. But more people than ever are pulling their cash out of banks who cannot make ends meet. They're borrowing beyond their eyeballs. They continue to do so despite debt defaults across the board, most of them we've ever seen, than the financial crisis. Make that stuff up. You can't do it. It's impossible to do. So it just, look, as you and I have discussed repeatedly, economy is going to continue to free fall around the world. They're going to lie to you and tell you that inflation is going down, inflation is better. But meanwhile, you're going to go to the stores and everything's going to be going up and shrinking in price, in size as well. So we got shrinkflation going on here. But they're going to tell you how great your life is, only to confuse you. No, things could not be worse off than they are now. Debts are exploding. Deficits are exploding. And just as you and I have covered, they're not going to stop. And the central banks are going to continue to inflate and inflate and inflate here. They can't stop inflation, okay? You have to understand the mechanism here. When central banks have done what they've done here since the last meltdown, pumping the cash with the world with trillions and trillions of dollars of cash is floating around. They can raise rates from here to kingdom come. It's not going to stop the influx of those extra bills in whatever form they exist from chasing the same, or in this case, a lesser amount of goods. But they want you to think that's really going to work. No. This whole thing has been a scam from the get-go. We just keep getting scammed over and over. Scamdemic, convid, every freaking thing else they want to throw at us. False flags with wars and everything. They can't tell you that this mechanism is deliberate to pull cash into the now. Oh, no. And they'll kill whoever they have to do to keep the system afloat because we're clearly running out of liquidity. And that's just the mechanism, too, of the debt-based economic model. You all know that. It's so sick. It's so freaking sick. Anyway, let's go back to this market. So triple-digit gain for the Dow this morning at the open. Trading doesn't start for about an hour and about 20 minutes from the time I am doing this video blog. But right now it appears that stock futures are higher across the board. Imagine my shock. Imagine your shock. There's no reality here anymore. They're going to pump this market until they don't. But again, at the end of the year, we get this. Then we get the presidential selection cycle in play. They pump the market for that too. Just making the current distortions that exist even worse. And it's going to get very real at one point. But for now, we're going to ride the wave, people. I told you where all the opportunities lie right here. They are glaring in our face. In my opinion, you need to be long the market. In my opinion, you need to be hoarding commodities, more specifically gold, silver, more specifically here, gaining exposure to other assets as the game remains risk on. That means other assets risk off, like gold, silver, and commodities, are on sale. So you just take advantage of that, period. And anyway, so with that said, stock futures higher across the board, 10-year yield low, and probably going a lot lower. The dollar is higher today on a relative strength basis, as I alluded to earlier. Gold and silver are mixed. Cryptocurrencies are mixed. Crude oil catching a bid. That's where we stand. That's where we stand today. And everything is playing out just as you and I would expect it to do. I already told you a million times. They can't beat us. We're invincible. We know what they want. We know what they're trying to do. That gives us enormous power to take advantage of every freaking thing they throw our way, and that's exactly what we're going to do. You understand? I think you all do. Nothing is going to get by me, which means it's not going to get by you either, because I'm going to sit here every day, and I'm going to tell you where it's at and what to do about it. It's that simple. Again, this is a channel for people who want to take action, who don't just want to be entertained. You know, I know sometimes I act a little silly, but that's just a coping mechanism on my part, because this stuff here makes my blood boil. Makes my blood freaking boil. All right, people, look, this guy here loves you a lot from the heart. I mean that. If you got something out of this video, I'd appreciate it if you let me know. Comment. Please share the video. Get it out there. Those thumbs up, please give these videos a thumbs up. It lets the algorithms pick it up. People get to see this stuff, and that's where you come in. It's up to you whether you want people to see this stuff, all right? And I count on you to share it and get it out there. Anyway, with that said, people, I will see all of you 4:05 p.m. Eastern time for a live stream. We're gonna cover all this. We'll wrap it up, and we're gonna cover questions that you might have for me. So have some ready, okay? I will see you later. Bye-bye.